Welcome to the A Plus EdTech podcast. My name is Ashley McBride, and I'm an instructional technology facilitator from North Carolina. In this episode, we're going to talk about the importance of keeping people before paperwork. It is the end of the school year, and we're all scrambling to get professional development plans submitted, grades finalized, notices out to the students about fines they still owe in the library, and a number of other tedious tasks that prevent us from coming out of our offices or our classrooms. Now, I know the public education system makes you document, because if you don't put it down on paper somewhere, it never really happened, right? At least that's what I've always been told. In fact, I remember having a meeting with someone who had come to observe me in my classroom who told me that I had lost points on my observation for something that wasn't included in my lesson. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what the specific infraction was, but I do remember saying that I had included it in my lesson, and she saw me include it in my lesson. She told me that while she did see it in action, she couldn't give me the credit for it because I didn't document it in my paperwork. I remember being pretty upset about that specific comment and the observation as a whole, because I had always thought that what I did in the classroom had a bigger influence on my students than what I wrote down. This attitude about having to have every action documented to be turned in is where all of this panic at the end of the year comes from. So how can we combat this? I mean, we have to have the observations completed, the papers have to be graded, the tests need to be written, the documentation proving that we did everything we were told to do, as well as the additional things we did because we wanted to ensure our students had every chance at success, and all the other papers that have to get signed, stamped, sent, and saved, just in case it's needed years from now. All that still has to get done. When we get into this crunch, we have to stop and remember to put people first. Personally, I've been working to get through a great deal of paperwork while still scheduling out computer rotations for the final testing push at the end of the school year. I recently wrote a blog post about how tired I've been, and to be honest, I wasn't sure this podcast was going to make it out in time. But I've continually been reminding myself that the paperwork is not as important as the teachers I work with who still need me to support them in their classrooms, and the relationships that I've worked so hard to build. So I find ways to lighten the paperwork load by using some digital tools. These tools help make it easier to keep all of my items organized and can help me get the right information to the right people quickly. Now, in this episode, we're kind of going to focus mainly on some of the scheduling hassles at the end of the year and also some of those paperwork flow problems that we have. The very first challenge at the end of the school year is scheduling. There are so many people to meet with who need to talk about so many different things. The hardest part is finding a time that works for both of us or all of us. I hate the back and forth, figuring out when we can both meet or all meet if it's a group. So for one-on-one meetings where people want me to come by to work on something specific, I use a website called Calendly. This is a site that links to my Google Calendar so that people can come to my Calendly page, choose the type of meeting they want to have with me, then they're shown all the times that I'm available for that type of appointment. It's easy to use, and I don't have to do anything other than put in the parameters of each type of appointment that I want to make available. Calendly is free if you only use one type of appointment. But if you want multiple types, you have to pay $96 for the premium plan. I used the free version as long as I could, but it was just too useful to have different kinds of meetings that were different links and different topics. This allows the teachers to schedule 15-minute meetings with me for a simple question, a whole 45-minute class period to plan out a lesson together, or even schedule me to help film them for their national boards. They just click it, it shows up on my Google Calendar, and I know exactly where I'm going and what I need to be prepared for. When it comes to getting groups of people together, I use Doodle. Doodle is a website that allows you to offer up multiple times and dates in a polling format. Everyone who is needed to be at the meeting clicks on the days and times that they can make the meeting, and Doodle lets you see all the responses so you can choose the day that works for everyone. I've only used it with the free version. If you're running a business and you want to personalize it and encrypt it, you can pay for the premium version. Now for the paperwork headache, honestly, I've kind of been staying up late at night and watching Golden Girls while I finish some of the mundane paperwork that doesn't take my whole brain in order to do. But for some of the other stuff, I've been having to send out notices to teachers this year that gave them all of their login information for an online system that we're going to have to use for testing. Well, with so many teachers and staff needing their individual information, I did not want to send out a different email to every single person. I wanted to send the same email with the individual person's information being the only thing that was changed. Instead of copying the main email and making changes into it after pasting the similar information into the body of the email and then changing the information that needed to be changed, I decided to use Autocrat. Autocrat is a Google add-on that can take all the information in a spreadsheet and turn it into multiple emails and documents. You fill out your sheet with all the information you need to be unique within your document or email, or both, along with the emails of the people who you want to share these documents and send the emails to. Now, I think I may have even confused myself whenever I started talking about Autocrat. So to make things a little bit simpler, I've gone on to my website, and in the show notes, you'll be able to see a actual visual version of this. I know that this is a podcast and you're just listening right now, but if you go to aplusedtech.com, there is a video that will show you what Autocrat does. There's also another video that shows you what Doctopus does. Doctopus is similar to Autocrat in the fact that it is a Google spreadsheet add-on. But it is different in the fact that it focuses on paper distribution via email and Google Drive. Doctopus does not create documents for you. Instead, it allows you to create shared Google folders in your Google Drives. Then you can hand out papers to those folders. Using this, you can give everyone their own copy, a shared copy, or a different paper altogether. It is an easy digital document handouts tool that you can set up and continue to use throughout the year. Essentially, it's all the perks of Google Classroom's Drive integration without the need for a Google Classroom. In fact, I plan to use this next year as a way to share tech documents with teachers so I can feed into the same single folder throughout the whole year. While technology cannot completely take away the paperwork and scheduling problems we face in education, it can alleviate it and save us a little bit of time here and there. In fact, without these tools, I would have to sacrifice even more time, which would have to come from somewhere. It would have to come from time spent talking to and working with my teachers, or even time with my family. And I'm not willing to sacrifice any more time than I already do, because people are a lot more important than paperwork any day. You can find the links to all of the resources in this episode by going to aplusedtech.com.